Today we're going to go through lab number 3 on host discovery. So in this lab, we are going to cover the use of mmap, network mapping tool, and also we will use mmap and a couple of software tools to try and perform the scanning of the target machines, scanning the network ranges, and also some other important information. For our equipment and tools, we will be using client Kali Linux, as well as a couple of servers, 1, 2, 3, and so on. In view of your memory limitation for your VMware, we suggest you probably start only client and server 1, maximum server 2. Okay. Don't start too many servers because you might crash your computer. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to take a look at the mmap. What are the parameters for host discovery? There are a few things that we're going to cover in this lab. Host discovery, port mapping, service enumeration, OS detection, and so on. So all these will also be covered inside the PA as well as the project. So let's take a look at the first part. Task 1 requires us to switch on the VM. So we have started the server 1 over here. And we also started the client VM and Kali Linux. We can also do the same for the other VM. So let me just start one more. Maybe server 4. Start server 4. Server 4 is a Windows VM. Okay, while the VM is starting, we will go ahead to log in to our client VM. So for the client VM, we already logged in here. So we can log in to the terminal inside the client VM. Let me start the terminal again. Okay, I think server 4 should be online now. Okay, server 4 is online. So let me log into my server 4 just in case I want to use it. Actually, there's no need to sign in to server 1 to server 4. You can actually perform the enumerations directly without logging in. That means your server 4 can be in this mode without logging in, without signing in. You can still enumerate, because as long as the servers 1, 2, 3, or 4 are online, they would have acquired their IP addresses. Then you probably don't need to log in to do anything else. Okay, so for this case, this is my client VM. It's a bit slow today. Maybe I'm doing 3 VMs, that's why it's slow down. Okay, let me increase the font size just for your easier viewing. Okay, so I can see that I'm logging in as a client user for this client machine. So if I want to access the root account, I can type in this command sudo su dash. So I can do that. So su dash. Okay, so it will prompt me for the password, and then you should see this. Okay, so now I'm using the Kali client as a root user. Okay, but generally we don't advise you to do this. This is for convenience sake. You should try to use the normal user for all commands. Okay, it's not really a good idea to use the root user for your normal operations. Okay, so now let's take a look at task number 2. So for task number 2, we are going to examine the Nmap parameters. So over here, there are a few parameters we can use. So the first thing we want to examine is this Nmap command called nmap-h. So inside the terminal, which is this black screen here, I'm going to key in the command nmap-h. So when I press enter, you will see a bunch of text appearing. So this dash H option is a form of help. Okay, so we are actually looking at the help screen for Nmap. Okay, because Nmap is a console-based app, it doesn't have a GUI for the normal Nmap. There is a GUI version called ZenMap. Okay, but you need to install another GUI separately. Okay, so for nmap, is a terminal command. So that's why if you want to look for help for nmap, you probably need to use nmap-h quite often. So over here, you can see that there are some parameters that you can use for this command here. Okay, let's take a look at some of them. The first part of this command talk about the target specification. So for example, you can actually use the dash I big L. This is an option for you to define the list of input hosts that you wanted to scan. Okay, so for example, you can define the input file name, or you can that means an input list, a list of host addresses inside the input file name. Okay, so this is the purpose of this file. So right here over the left sheet, what you can do is you see there is this target specification and this parameter, right, dash IL. Okay, so you can just list down the description of this parameter and indicate here in the left sheet. Okay, so that is this part of the requirement for the left sheet. Quite straightforward. Okay, so this is for this dash I capital L. Also, just a reminder, in Unix or Linux, all the commands are case sensitive. So it's important to follow the small I, big L format. Okay, if you type it as small I, small L, it will not work. So it must be the same letter size, what you see over here. So we can also examine a few other options. So let's say we take a look at this second one called host discovery. So host discovery is this list of options here. Okay, so host discovery means we want to discover the PCs or the laptops that are currently online in the network. Okay, so let's take a look at this dash small sn option. So in this case, the dash small sn option refers to the ping scan. Okay, so ping scan basically means you will directly ping the devices without the port scan. So that means the ping will be slightly faster because you are not going to enumerate the ports available on the host devices. So you can just copy these parts here and then paste inside your sheet. Okay, so quite straightforward over here. Okay, let's keep the rest of the host discovery you can do yourself. There are also a couple of other tools supported in nmap scanning, port specifications, scan order, service version detection, scripts, OS. OS is important. So let's take a look at this one. So if you see the OS detection, so you can scroll below under OS detection. Okay, so this dash O option refers to the OS detection. That means when you try to scan your network on your client device, you do not know which server is online. That means you don't have the luxury of the screen that you can sign in Or put it another way, most of the time you probably don't even know what is the login password or username. So the most you can see is this one. So when you can log in, you can sign in, you probably don't have the access to your control panel, a command prompt, or your console. So in this case, how are you going to know what is the operating system? What is this Linux version? What is this Windows version that is running in the background? So in that, you should do this dash O option to actually do the OS detection. Okay. So this is the part where you have to do OS detection. This is important because you most likely will use it in your PA as well as a project. Okay, enable OS detection. Okay, the rest I think I leave it for you to try because there's quite a long list of parameters you can use. So let's take a look at the next task called scan network reach. So for this case, we have this mmap we can use to try and scan the entire network IP range and try and find any active hosts that are already logged into the network. Okay. Some of the options available for network scanning include the grep command for searching, -sn define the network, -OA for outputs, okay, depending on what is the format you want to output, -D for debugging. Debugging means you will be able to display more specific info that you can use for testing. And -F5 in this case to try to use a sync or bit scan. This means that when you try to use tiny fragmented packets, right, it is less likely to be detected by the host network. Okay, because sometimes when we want to do the scanning, right, we may not allow the host network to know that we are scanning their network. Okay, that means we are basically doing unannounced scan. So when that happens, we may want to keep our profile low in order to be avoid detected. So one of the way is we can specify the use of the fin scan or sting scan so that the packets that we're going to send to the host network are smaller and less likely to be detected. How lucky you are to be not detected depends on your luck and also depends on how they install the firewall or even the IDS intrusion detection system. So if they are not installing any intrusion detection system, then there's a good chance that you may be able to scan without getting detected. Okay, long story cut short. So let's try and run this command in our terminal here. So let me clear my screen. So next, I'm going to run this command to try and scan the network for any available hosts. So let me just key in the command mmap. So mmap 10.10.10.0, which was nothing. Okay, so this is the network address /24 cider block, followed by the -sn option. So this is for scanning the network. And we want to specify the output small o big A. Okay, this one, the tnet behind represents the file name that you want to call. That means the name of the file that you want to save the output as. So for example, let's say we call this file as file. Okay. So now if you key like this -O big A asfar, that means later on my output file will be saved as asfar.xml, asfar.text, asfar. Let's try out. So let's press enter and then we wait for the result of the scan to come out. How long it takes usually is about 10-20 seconds. Maximum should not exceed more than 3 minutes. If your scan takes more than 2 or 3 minutes, something is wrong. That means you probably have to restart the scan. Okay, so it's done about 30 seconds, 28 seconds in fact. Okay, let's take a look at the files that we have just recorded here. So let's type the command ls for lists. And now you can see on my directory, I have 3 files called aspa. Okay, one of them is called aspa.gnmap. So this is referring to the grabbable file format. Okay, G stands for grab. Okay, grabbable file format that we can use to search for the output. The other one is aspa.xml. So this is the output in XML format. And also you have mmap format. Okay, so total 3 formats that we have discovered. Okay, so now the other question is, what about this whole bunch of things behind which we didn't type? Okay, so let's take a look. We are going to run the same command again. This time around, maybe I don't call it aspa, I change the name to Zikai. Okay, and I'm going to add the text behind. That means this whole bunch of things over here, and we see the difference. So let's type grab for type cuts dash e. Okay, there are some typo error here, so I'm going to do some changes. Okay, so be careful of the spacing between the D double quote and also in between the double quote, there's also a spacing. Dash M5. Oops. And press enter. And then we wait for Zikai to come. Okay, hopefully it should not take more than 30 seconds. The previous scan was about 30 seconds. So this scan probably should be also 30 seconds. Okay, it's done. So let's take a look at the result here. If we type lists, we will see a combination between the 2 files. Okay, now we have the aspa.xml and zikai.xml. So let's take a look at the difference between the 2 files. Let's try and see difference. Use open. Oh, SDG open. Okay, let me try. Aspa SDG dash open aspa.xml. Oh, not open. Never mind. I just use a cat. aspa.xml. Okay, so this is how the file will look for the first one as far as XML. So let me take a look at the other one. Open another terminal to let you have a view of the comparison. Okay, so let me just double check. Okay, I have the same file. Oh, it's in roots, so I must also include the sudo. Okay, so now let me check. I should be able to see the same file. Okay, aspa.xml is on the right, so let me open the other one. Zikai. XML. Okay, so this is the corresponding one for mmap aspa as Zikai XML. Is it able to see? Maybe this one is too big for me, so maybe it's not. Okay. So any difference between the two files? Yeah, I think the difference is behind here. The two files looks the same. But what is important to maybe highlight is when I actually do the scan for the previous one, right? Can you see? I only show the IP addresses compared to just now when I scan, right? I see this whole bunch of things. So okay, maybe I just do the scan again just to be more clear. So sudo I'll just run the two commands side by side and easier to see. Okay, the question I wanted to maybe bring your attention to is why do you need this bunch of things behind? Okay, the pipe grab for cut, what does it do? Okay, so I'm just trying to show you the output. Okay, so this is the output for the second one with the grab at the back. The first one without the grab, just the command in front. Can you see? So the front part is the same. The only difference is the grab option at the back. So what it does is this grab option at the back basically means you're going to search. Okay, grab means search. You're going to search for this thing that you're going to cut based on the delimiter of space. So dash D stands for delimiter. So in this case, what I mean is you have this string over here. The individual texts are delimited by spaces. So you have one space, second space, third space, fourth space over here. So there are 5 items over here. So mmap, scan, report, for, as well as the IP address. So what this whole command do is basically search for the items number 5 that are separated by the spaces and then eliminate all these things. Okay, so what it does is basically instead of displaying the whole output here, it will remove everything from here and just highlight the IP address, which is what we see over here. Can you see? Okay, so there is this command behind the grab cut blah blah blah, this whole bunch of here. Okay. Anyway, this is side topic is more Linux rather than mmap. But I just highlight in case you are interested, you want to know. Okay, so this is the difference for the mmap with the grep and without the grep command. Okay, let me go back to the lab sheet again. Okay, so from here, we can actually try and answer some of the questions. How many active hosts were discovered? For my case, I switch on only server 1 and server 4. That is why I can only determine 2 active hosts. Okay, 2 active hosts, or rather 3 if I include myself. Okay, so 10, 10, 10, 8 is server 1. 10, 10, 10, 102 is server 4, and 10, 10, 10, 5 is myself, the Kali Linux. So 3 hosts. I see. List the IP addresses discovered. So you just need to copy this IP address, then paste it here. That's all. Okay, so this is the IP address that you found, and then the third one is 185. So that is that. Let's take a look at task 4. So for task 4, we are doing the MBT scan. So MBT scan is basically using what we call the NetBIOS information. So NetBIOS is so-called network enumeration format that was introduced something like 40 over years ago, 1980s. So it is able to store the information such as your IP address, net BIOS name, which is your host name, and also your MAC address. So let's try and take a look at the MBT scan here. So to do that, we just need to key in the command MBT scan, MBT scan -r 10.10.10.0/24. And let's press enter. Notice that MBT scan can be quite fast. Okay. MBT scan can be quite fast. So over here, is able to discover 3 hosts. Okay. The first one will be your 10.10.10.5, which is myself. Okay, Kali Linux. The second one is 10.10.10.102, your server 4, Windows server. The third one is 10.10.10.8 server 1, which is the Mint Linux. So just fill in the information over here, then we can continue with the rest. This is 10.10.10.8 server 1. Then we have the 10.10.10.2. Server 4. And then, of course, yourself, if you want. So these are the IP addresses that are found. Okay. This is myself, basically the Kali Linux. Okay, the good thing about MBT scan compared to your MF scan, right? MBT scan is able to show you your NetBIOS computer name, which is essentially your Windows host name. Okay, so this is your Windows host name. Okay, the host name of the device. So MBT scan is able to find the host name for the device. Okay, let's take a look at one more scan before we close this lab and let you try on your own. The next scan we want to take a look is NetDiscover. So NetDiscover is another tool similar to MBT scan for us to discover the information in the network. So let's try and use the network scan. So for this case, let's just type NetDiscover -r 10.10.10.0/24. And then when we press enter, we can wait for the result. Okay, MBT scan is better than the MMAP and also MBT scan because it not only discover the host IP addresses, but also discover the host MAC addresses, okay, the hardware MAC addresses. So this is something that is a bit better. However, as you can see later, NetDiscover scan have drawback. That means first it scan longer. Second thing, sometimes it may crash or hang. So the NetDiscover tool may not be so reliable. It may actually hang. The program may hang after a short while. So that's why you can use it, but just be aware of the limitation. Don't know how long it will take. Maybe another 10 seconds. Okay, we'll just terminate the scan here since it doesn't look like stopping. Okay, so this is the result we got. So same thing, we can try to find the answers for our lab sheets. Okay. Okay, guys, some of you may have some issues. How are you going to copy this whole thing to my lab sheet here or my answer sheet? So there's a trick you can use here. So on the VMware Kali Linux, if you see what I did just now, I don't know whether you were paying attention. So what you can do is you can just highlight the part that you want to copy and then drag to the Microsoft Word. Don't have to type out everything. Okay, so it's a nice little trick you can use for your PA as well as a project. So just drag this whole thing and you will appear here. Don't have to copy this whole thing until the file comes home. Okay, so same thing I do for this one and then this one. Okay, so this is basically the Net Discover tool. I have a summary over here. You can take a look. So we have been using the three tools, mmap, followed by MBT scan, followed by Net Discover. So these three tools. Okay. So which tool you want to use is up to you. So during the PA or the project, we will just ask you to scan the network. We will not specify which tool to use. So you can use whichever tool that is available to you, mmap or MBT scan or Net Discover, whichever one you prefer. Okay. So these are the differences between the three tools. Most of the time we use mmap should be good enough. There are some other options we can find. mmap is also able to show you the host name, NetBIOS name. It is also able to show you the MAC address as well. You just need to explore and use other parameters for mmap. In fact, mmap is able to do everything, but you need to explore the commands or the parameters in order to find the one that you want to use. Okay, so if that, I will just stop the lab sheet here. For task 6 onwards, I think the instruction is quite straightforward. You can follow the instructions and do the scanning yourself. Okay, so I'll stop here.